Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. I'm here as always with my good friend Dan Wiseman. Dan, Hibernian 0, Aston Villa 5. Job done in the first leg almost. Mate, how are you doing?
I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. That was a lovely evening's work. Yeah, it wasn't quite... I felt like the second half performance, in a way, although we scored less goals, was better than the first. We kind of exchanged some text messaging at half-time and sort of said that that's the best, worst 3-0 win, like 3-0 half that we've ever seen, because outside of the 3 goals and the header that Ollie put over the bar that he really should have scored, to be honest with you, we didn't actually create all that much. And I know that's sort of caveated by the fact like we created enough chances to score 3 goals. But I thought Hibs started quite well. I thought the opening 15 minutes, they created, fashioned some good openings. And there were points where, we looked at, there was one moment where Diego Carlos kind of sliced a pass out the box that went out for the throw-in, and it like got the crowd up. And I was like, there were a few moments where it looks like they could really kind of put some authority on it, but we pretty quickly established ourselves. And you can't complain too much about a 5-0 win, I suppose, can you, mate?
No, you can't, mate. You can't. As you said, it was a bit lackadaisical. I think the players looked a little bit tired at times, and Hibs early on did actually pressure us more than I think we probably anticipated. But eventually, spirits wear down, legs get tired, all that kind of stuff, and we ended up getting the job done. And quite a few aggrieved Hibs fans in the comments of the preview. But I guess that kind of almost proved the point that we were saying, mate. It felt like we could have got this done. I mean, it ended up being really convincing with a very strong team, and it was pretty much full strength of what we've got at our disposal at the moment. But I think suffice to say, mate, come next Thursday when we're back at Villa Park playing this second leg, I think there will be a handful at least of changes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if you've seen kind of what Unai said about Zaniolo, but this is an interesting one. The sign got that he couldn't play tonight because he's played in Europe already this season, which he'll be able to play from the group stages, but he's a kind of bird piece that won't be able to get involved. It's one of those kind of annoying European legs where I think if you said to both teams, do you just want to scrap that off? I think they'd both go, yeah, probably. Like, we could do with just, I think, all of our attention and all of our legs being on that Liverpool game, and the Hibs definitely don't want to make the long trip all the way down from Edinburgh to play in a tie, which not only are they going to lose, they've probably got no hope of turning around anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be, like, it's more about the occasion in truth, but I get really excited about these games, and it's kind of why, despite our record, I get excited about the kind of third round for the FA Cup, because I love seeing Villa teams that you'll never really otherwise get to see. I think it's really interesting when you put those kind of second string lineups out. You get to see different combinations and different formations and stuff like that, and I always find it really exciting. So hopefully we've got who knows, maybe a new signing in through the door before then. Like, that's the kind of thing that we're all hoping, that this flurry of exits from the club and all the academy graduates that are going out would pave the way for some new guys coming in. And that's the kind of fixture where it's nice to embed a new signing in a kind of free hit game that endears them to the home crowd and everything like that. So yeah, let's see how it goes. But maybe that's where John Duran earns his first start, for example.
Maybe, mate. Maybe. Obviously came on today for Ollie, but I mean, Ollie was fantastic, mate, weren't he? Ollie was absolutely amazing. Aside from the miss that you alluded to earlier, mate. But he had 3 goals from 3 shots on target with 100% pass accuracy. He made 3 key passes. He won 2 ground duels and won 100% of his aerial duels. And he is the first player to score a hat-trick in Europe since Stan Collymore. And another hat-trick stat that I've got for you, mate. He is only the 4th Aston Villa player to score a hat-trick in Europe. He joins the very short but very special list that consists of Peter With, Gary Shaw, Stan Collymore, and now Ollie Watkins. Absolutely amazing stuff. And I think it's games like this where, I mean, like, I don't want to get too carried away with Ollie, because again, it would, with no disrespect at all intended, it was only Hibs. but Ollie Watkins has played in this kind of game hundreds of times on his ascendancy to where he is now. You know, he's someone who has plied his trade in the lower leagues, Exeter, even Brentford to a certain degree, obviously in the Championship. The physical aspects of the game are something where he really thrives, and I've always felt the more physical you get with Ollie, the more hyped up he's going to be, and the more likely he is actually to score. He really does relish in that battle. That I think he benefits from his sort of upbringing in the sport, I guess, and playing his way through the leagues. Because I mean, it's fair to say that Hibs, again, no disrespect intended at all, probably League One standard, maybe even being a little bit generous there, labeling them with that. But you find in these games there's players. I mean, even in the Premier League, it happens when things get physical. It's much more of an equaliser for your sort of underdog team. That's where they can usually get a bit more out of the game. Really start to slow the game down, get physical, get aggressive. But Ollie really thrived in that environment today, and I guess it's just a testament to how brilliant he is. And as I've said a couple of times, mate, just his footballing education, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the big thing for me tonight, was going into this game. It was like, we need to win, and Ollie needs to score because he's a streaky striker. I feel like you either go into games and you're like, Ollie Watkins is 1,000,000% going to score today, or you go into games thinking Ollie's just not at the races recently. It's one or the other. And normally when he gets a couple, that's it. He goes off. And so let's hope that this is Ollie's start to the season, because, he hasn't looked too great in either of our kind of early games. I kind of prefaced that, he's got a couple of assists to his name, in obviously assisted Diaby's goal at Newcastle, and then FPL managers will tell you he got an assist at the weekend for being fouled for the penalty, which Douglas Luiz then took. Not sure if that counts in the official statistics, but hey, I mean, FPL's more important anyway, right? And so I think, but hitting the back of the net is the big thing for Ollie, and did so really, really nicely with 3 fantastic balls from Luca bloody Dean, who has heard these rumours or had the contact, whatever that transfer or transfers, be it Saudi Arabia or Nice. He's heard these and gone, not me. I am staying here, son. He's either playing himself very nicely back into first team contention or playing himself right into the shop window. But whichever one it is, he is playing absolutely exceptional football at the moment. I thought he was good against Everton, but tonight, my God, I can't remember genuinely too many fullback performances that I've seen like that. Like 3 assists in one game. I would challenge anyone to provide a kind of better game a fullback has had for Aston Villa in recent years than that. Like I know it's Hibs, and he had pretty much full roam of that right left wing. But God, his deliveries were excellent.
Now, he was finding himself in really good positions consistently, mate, and I felt he was always decent in the recovery as well. He looked really assured, and again, it does come with that caveat of it being Hibs, but these are the kind of games that give players confidence. That not that Dean's a fringe player, obviously he's very much in the fold at the moment due to Moreno's injury, but these are the kind of games where you need guys like Luca Dean to step up. You need guys like Leon Bailey to step up, and obviously he's got himself a goal. Bertrand Traore's come on, won as a penalty within a couple of minutes of coming on as well. So it's really encouraging for those kind of guys that are coming on, making an impact, albeit we're not talking about the very peak, but these games are feasibly, they're potential banana skins, right? You come into these kind of games specifically with Hibs, and there's almost this potential for a David and Goliath situation, isn't there? And obviously you don't want to be leaving Scotland with that sort of Anglo-Scot rivalry that there is. You don't want to be leaving there without the win and without I don't want to say the performance, but I mean it was convincing. Hibs were at it for about 20 minutes and that was it really. And it's a shame that it wasn't. I don't want to sit here and say it was a 10 out of 10 performance. I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy or anything like that, but we did everything we needed to do without really putting too much pressure on ourselves, which again, like, that's obviously fantastic, and I don't really have too many issues with that. It appears, mate, we finally, and God, like, this has been a long time coming, hasn't it? We finally found a competent penalty taker. Nobody has filled this void since Anwar El Ghazi's left. Douglas Luiz is 2 for 2 right now. 2 very good penalties as well, may I add. Is he now the nailed down guy, mate? Is he? Are we having Dougie on PKs now? I can't believe I've called him PKs. God, I'm so American. God, I'm going to get annihilated for that in the comments.
You know, mate, you spent too much time in the States recently.
I have. This is like the work-life balance is blending too much right now.
Well, who's going to displace him? Who's going to who we got? It's only if we sign another forward that comes in. The window closes next Friday, right? So, by the time you guys are listening to this, it'll either be the full 9 days or 8 days or however long we've got of the window. That's what we've got to do, and that's the time we've got to get business in. So unless someone comes in that period, Dougie could be on penalties, which makes him, on the subject of FPL, maybe a nice asset in there as well, because he's normally good value for it. Got 5 goals in the league, I believe, last season, which is decent output for a deep line midfielder. Assists to go in there as well. And now if he's on penalties, he could well better that tally this season. So certainly one to have a look at there in terms of cheaper FPL picks. But yeah, I think everyone was good tonight. Everyone was good without with the exception of Ollie and Dean, without being great, I would say. I thought that Leon looked good. But yeah, it's one where I'm interested to see kind of how it looks next week. We've got a difficult game at the weekend, and you could start to see that reflected in the subs that we're kind of making throughout the game. But mate, it's the perfect start. It really is to our European adventure. It really kind of solidifies any doubts, because you're right, this was a banana skin. This is a lose-lose game for Aston Villa, in terms of outcome, but in terms of if you go out there and you win, it's, well, you're expected to. It's, a side that finished in European spots in the Premier League versus a kind of the team that started 0 for 2 in the SPL this season. And if you lose, it's like it's a full-blown crisis that we then have to try and overtake. It's not a game that favours Villa, but it was just very professional, and it really kind of puts everything at ease, because there were still those doubts pre-game. Like, I feel like every Villa fan has been scarred by Rapid Vienna and all those kind of games that haunted us in our last European exploits, and there's always that nagging feeling. It's like, but what if we do lose? And I think tonight has kind of put everybody's mind at ease in terms of like, we do belong at this level. We do look very comfortable here. Like, this European adventure hasn't come too early. We are set for it right now. And I think we need some depth to address it truly. But at least on surface value, we put out a performance, which I think will have put a lot of the other teams in the competition on watch.
Definitely, mate. The bench isn't looking too good. I think the lineup probably informed the bench choices as well, because I mean, we were talking about Tielemans potentially starting, but you start Tielemans, that's one less player you can bring off the bench that can almost change a game on his own. I thought Diego was great as well, mate. 90% pass accuracy, 6 clearances, 1 interception, 3 aerials, 1, and bagged himself an assist as well. Imperious from him. You really love to see it. And as you say, mate, tough game coming up on the weekend against Burnley, who go to Turf Moor away. Obviously, Aaron Ramsey has just signed for them. Although watching the interview, it sounds like it was recorded a week or so ago, and they've only just managed to finalise the deal. But obviously, that's a good deal. Let's talk today about Cam joining Sheffield United, despite that being sort of debunked by his brother on Twitter, Ratio and Fabrizio Romano. Emery, after the game, basically said that, look, we're basically, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. I almost got that the wrong way around, and making sure that it's the best possible deal for us, really. That's kind of what I picked up from what Emery said about Cam. And as well, mate, before we go, Alicia Lehmann, new contract.
Yes.
Very good news, that. It felt like that's always that's one. I mean, with Dougie as well, they both had the sort of contract issue that's sort of been hanging over their head for the past 18 months. But till 2026, I mean, that's great news.
No, it is, mate. It is. It's a really big year, to be honest, like for the women's team, because we got so close to like cracking that top 3 teams of I suppose you've got to throw United into it now, of kind of like City, Arsenal, Chelsea, and United, and we looked comfortably the best of the rest this season. And as is the case with the men's team, you can only solidify by keeping what you already have and continuing to build on it. And we've had some really exciting business done already. I'm really excited to see Daphne van Damselaar, who had a good World Cup for the Netherlands, I thought, come in and replace Hannah Hampton, who's outgoing. You've got girls like Simone McGill, who never really got a run out last season because she did a knee, I believe. And so there's going to be players that we've already got. They're going to feel like new signings. We're starting to add to it nicely. And then when you consider, Rach had a good World Cup, albeit from the other positions. When we saw Kenza Dali play for France, I thought she was really good as well. Then obviously Jordan Nobbs went away as well. So it looks like they're coming back, and certainly the women's side of things is in a really good place on the transfer front. So yes, all good news, mate. I was wondering if I could run some brief promo, if that's okay,
mate. Absolutely. The mic is yours,
mate. So yeah, don't worry. This is not a plug, but I saw a post the other day from the Villa with the foundation for Unai's Ultimate Medal Challenge. I don't know if you saw this.
I didn't know. Enlighten me.
So it basically, between now and October, if you run, walk or cycle 11 miles and donate to the Villa Foundation, you can win some money for charity. And I know what everybody's like sitting there listening, like, at the peak of my powers. So I hear it as a 24-year-old, 11 miles is not a big ask between now and October. So I'm going to be running 100 miles between now and October. For the Villa Foundation, I've already started. We've got 7 in the tank. I've done 2 runs, a couple of 5Ks. It's gone to about 7. But yeah, there will be a Just Giving page in the bio where you can donate. All money goes exclusively to the Villa Foundation and all the amazing work they do with the disabled kids in the community and everything like that. Obviously, I don't need to sit here and wax lyrical about what kind of cause that is. Obviously, please don't feel pressured to donate. I know times are really tough for everyone that's listening, but literally, even if it's a matter of pence, whatever, if you have a bit of spare change, chuck it in there. I'm going to try and run 100 miles between now and October. I've done the maths, and I think it's doable. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a grind. And if it wasn't for like cause like the Villa Foundation, I think I'd probably give up halfway through. And at the end of it, I get a medal with Unai Emery's face on. So it's a win-win for everybody involved.
Mate, that's brilliant, mate. Amazing. Yeah, guys, if you've got any change and you're feeling charitable, then that would be obviously amazing. Big ups to you. Is that like what, 2-3 miles a day every day?
So yeah, I have that down as I would need to run like if I was to do it each and every day, which I'd need to run is about 4K. But on the days where I'm in the office, I work quite long days and everything like that. So what I'm going to do is more every other day, 6 or 7K. So it's not like crazy. So I'm not expecting
you're getting a bit of rest in between as well. That's good. I like that.
But yeah, I saw 11 miles. I was like, that's basically, I almost walked that in a day to work. So I was like, that feels a bit cheating. So I was like, yeah, we're going to do 100 and then see how we go. And then if I do it well, I'm going to try and do something a bit bigger next year. But we'll see how, baby steps. The first time I've ever done anything like this. And so, yes, I'll drop the link in the description.
Yeah, we'll get that in the link tree as well, mate. Get that in the link tree. Yes. That's fantastic. So, yeah, guys, it's safe. If you've got any spare change, make sure you donate. Brilliant cause. And yeah, I mean, the last time I ran properly was around Manchester as well. I've not ran for ages now. When we did that half marathon, me and Dan Horton, no longer with, well, not now.
Oh, yes, of course.
She's not part of Heart of the Holt anymore. Dan Horton is very much alive and probably listens to this. I hope you're good, mate. I was speaking to him the other day briefly. But yeah, guys,
he and Wright meme going around in my head. I've taken my heart.
That lives in my head rent free. That lives in my head. His poor PE teacher.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's brilliant. That's brilliant, guys. What a win. What a result. What a night. First European night in 13 years for Aston Villa, and it couldn't have gone any better. It's actually our joint biggest win in Europe as well, mate. We've beat Valeur 5-0 in 1981, and we beat, funnily enough, Vittoria 5 1983.
Who'd have not?
Who'd have thought, mate? Who'd have thought that after that we would then be become minority shareholders? But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this podcast, let us know by hitting a like, commenting your thoughts below, and subscribing if you haven't already. Up the Villa.